Can't you see I love you? Please don't break my heart in two. That's not hard to do, 'cause I don't have a wooden heart. And if you say goodbye, then I know that I would cry. Maybe I would die, 'cause I don't have a wooden heart. There's no strings upon this love of mine. It was always you from the start. Treat me nice, treat me good, treat me like you really should, 'cause I'm not made of wood, and I don't have a wooden heart. Musiden, zum Städtelein-Haus, Städtelein-Haus, und du, mein Schatz, bleibst hier. Musiden, zum Städtelein-Haus, Städtelein-Haus, und du, mein Schatz, bleibst hier. There's no strings upon this love of mine. It was always you from the start. Sei mir gut, sei mir gut, sei mir wie du wirklich sollst, wie du wirklich sollst, 'cause I don't have a wooden heart.
Feel no guilt in laughter, he'd know how much you care. Feel no sorrow in a smile, that he's not here to share. You cannot grieve forever, he would not want you to. He'd hope that you would carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times and the way you showed you cared, the days you spent together and the happiness you shared. Let memories surround you. A word someone may say will suddenly recapture a time, an hour, a day that brings him back as clearly as though he was still here, and fills you with that feeling that he is always near. And if you keep those moments, you'll never be apart, and he will live forever, locked safely in your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come together this afternoon to celebrate the wonderful life of Donald Leonard Medwin, Don as he was known to all. A life lived with great love for his family and a dedication to his work. On behalf of his loving wife Maureen, his son Nigel and daughter-in-law Belinda, his grandchildren Jessie, Ellie and Tyler, his niece Sally, her husband Kim and daughter Marnie, and special friends Connor, Lauren and Alana, I welcome you and thank you for being here with them today. I also welcome all those who are viewing online as they were unable to be present, especially Connor and Ellie in Western Australia, Alana in Bendigo, and Lauren in Cairns. You are all here today because you have one important thing in common. Your lives have been touched by the good fortune of having known Don. We are all bound together by our common links of kinship, love, and friendship. Today, we will touch on aspects of Don's life that will have affected you all in different ways and will mean different things to each of you. They may evoke memories which you can take away from here and keep safe. The memories you have are of a kind, loyal, fun-loving man who loved numbers, 8-ball, the Geelong Footy Club, fishing and working, but most of all, he loved his family. In short, Don simply loved life. I hope that's not him ringing us. Sorry, Don, what did I miss? Following the service this afternoon, the family warmly invite you to join them here in the reception area to share your memories of Don and to support one another, and later to adjourn to Nigel's place at 44A Stirling Street to continue the celebration of Don's life. Right now, there are many emotions filling us: sadness, grief, maybe relief that his suffering is over. Whatever the emotion, there remains a sense of profound loss. No philosophy or religion can prevent these wholly natural reactions of the human heart. Don was a no-fuss sort of man who would not enjoy being the centre of attention and definitely would prefer few tears. So in your sadness today, he would want you to remember that grief is a passage, not a place to stay. Grief is not a sign of weakness, nor a lack of faith. It is the price of love. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of his birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between the years. For that dash represents all the time that he spent alive on earth. And now only those who loved him know what that little dash was worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. Don spent his dash giving to others. His great love of numbers saw him take on many voluntary roles in clubs that he joined, always making sure the books were balanced and every dollar was accounted for. Don was a man who could never sit still. He always had to be doing something, working a full-time day job, often into the evening. He also took on extra roles. Some might say he was a workaholic. Never loud or harsh, his cool, calm demeanour was enough to get his message through. Born in Wynyard on the 30th of November 1943, the youngest son of Jean and Basil Medwin, Don spent his early years in Rocky Cape, enjoying the outdoor adventures with his brothers Peter and David. He attended Rocky Cape Area School, walking there and back, before heading into Wynyard to attend Wynyard High School. During this time, he boarded with a lady for whom he was not too fond, and it is said he would escape whenever he could, usually to go to the pictures. He loved a good film and became quite a movie buff. After leaving school, Don started his first job at Clements and Marshall's in Burnie, beginning with deliveries on his push bike before moving on to being a merchandise providor sales rep and later into the office as the payroll officer. At one time, Don shared his garden knowledge on a Saturday morning 7BU radio show. Yes, he was the Don Burke of Wynyard. But it was his love of numbers and clever mind for mathematics that drew him away from that sort of stardom. Don spent 28 years with Clements and Marshall before it closed and became Roberts. He had moved to Burnie by this time and secured a job as the paymaster for Loughran's, a position that he held for another 14 years. When Harvey Norman took over Loughran's, Don was given the franchise to the store in Devonport. But this didn't last long, as he realised it was not for him, and he returned to Burnie to tie up the loose ends at Loughran's before taking a bit of a break from work. Later, that love of numbers again led him to a job in admin with Bell Chambers Fabrication in Ulverston. Alongside these jobs, Don also had a part-time job with the Electoral Office spanning 40 years. When he moved out of Wynyard, he rented a flat in Harbour Views in Burnie with a couple of mates and his brother. It was during this time that he met Judith at a country dance, and after courting for a while, they married on the 10th of July, 1965. Building a new home in Van Diemen's Crescent the same year, Don and Judy lived a happy life, made happier when their son Nigel was born in 1968. Other newly built houses followed. In Atkins Drive in 1979, Singlines Avenue in 1994, and later the current home in Stirling Street that Nigel built for Don and Maureen. Don and Judy travelled frequently and loved to holiday in their cabin at Wings Wildlife Farm. Sadly, Judy passed away in 2015, and so to fill the gap in his life, Don joined every club he could find: the Burnie Walking Club, Senior Citizens, CAM Retirees, to name a few. Everywhere he went, he would take on the role of bookkeeper. Such was his love for numbers. In the early 70s, he was president and treasurer of the Burnie Scouts Association and was instrumental in securing funding for the new Scout Hall in Morville Road in 1975. He had a passion for 8-ball and was involved with the 8-Ball Association for 20 years, taking the role of vice president at one stage, and yes, you guessed it, treasurer for many years. His enjoyment of activities at the Senior Citizens Club resulted in Don meeting Maureen. Rather shy at first, he got up the courage to ask her out for coffee, and off to the Blue Wren they went. And so began a beautiful relationship. They married in 2018. As Maureen admitted, Don got tired of getting dressed and going home, so why not? They happily enjoyed holidays to Canberra, Victoria and New Zealand before a stroke in 2020 left Don partly paralysed on his right side, and ultimately the need for dialysis changed their lives. This continued for 3 days a week, and it got to the stage where his body was just not coping, and other issues ensued. After a bleed on his brain was detected, Don spent his last 10 days in hospital, never complaining, never losing his sense of humour, ringing to talk with all family members, maybe for his final goodbyes, enjoying a beer with Nigel after his final meal. He passed peacefully on Wednesday, the 11th of October. Finally, his suffering was over. A patient and kind man, a true gentleman who wore a suit and tie all his life. Don was well respected by everybody involved in his life. He had a broad range of general knowledge, had many friends and acquaintances, loved to go fishing, enjoyed a beer or a wine. But more than anything, Don was totally devoted to his family. The world is a sadder place without Don in it. Rest peacefully, Don. Your work here is done. A lovely tribute has been written by Ken Lochran, which I would like to present for him. Ken writes, Don came to our company in 1984-85 while we were in a growth phase, expanding our business to Hobart. It was a busy time and a dedicated payroll manager was required. Don was our first and last paymaster, staying until the sale of our business to Harvey Norman in 1998. From the outset, Don managed our employee payroll with sound bookmaking skills and with the inevitable challenge of computer accounting. Don was an enthusiastic IT devotee. He was responsible for accurate payroll, employee management, rounding out a staff of 200 people dealing with various awards, trades, and associated issues for a range of staff in a diversified business. Dealing with management of various business units, Don was respected for his accuracy and empathy, often bringing to management attention an individual needing help, and then he would provide it. Don made a positive contribution to the office. If there was a Melbourne Cup sweep or a footy tipping to be organised, Don was on it. He made it happen. He was also a leader of the staff social events, always bringing people together. Don was absolutely committed to his job. He regularly came back to the office after dinner to ensure his unit was on top, as so many people rely on their pay to be accurate and on time. All staff felt comfortable and confident when dealing with Don. He was well liked by all. We all make mistakes, however, I cannot recall an issue working with Don over 15 years. He simply applied himself with meticulous accuracy and commitment. Don Medwin was a friend of all. Thank you, Ken. A family tribute now from his niece, Sally.
For those who don't know me, I'm Don's niece, Sally. I was raised by his mother, Jean. She may have been my grandmother, but I always called her Mum. Thanks, Nigel, my little brother, for giving me the chance to say a few words about my Uncle Don. But before I share my memories, I would like to tell a couple of stories about the larrikin Don. He was my dad David's younger brother. Dad was born in May 1942 and Don in September 1943. They were 18 months apart, pardon me, and according to my old mum, she called them a pair of little nointers. I remember her laughing and telling me many stories about their exploits. Today, I would like to share a couple of my favourites. Mum told me that one of her most embarrassing moments was when the boys were young and the house at Rocky Cape sprung a leak. She asked her neighbour, Bill Lamprey, to climb up onto the roof to investigate. She said she nearly died of embarrassment as she watched him throw all sorts of weird rubbish off the roof at the back of the house. It turned out that David and Don had made the bestest cubby house in the whole wide world in the V shape of the old house. I don't know if you remember, but many of those early houses had very, very steep roofs on three sides and then a V. I guess it was for rainfall. But anyway, the boys had shimmied up the veranda, past bits of timber, everything you could think of up there, walked around the side of the house, got it into the thing, made a fabulous cubby, pillows, everything. This would have been fantastic, and Don said it actually took them a lot of trips to actually get all of the things up there. It was a fantastic idea until it rained. And then, of course, all of the debris up there made a nice big dam and created a fabulous leak. The other story that I really like involves a chicken. The boys at some point, when their parents were away, decided to try their hand at chicken capturing, Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner style. The plan was simple. Tie baling twine to an old apple case, place a pile of grain on the floor, on the ground, climb up in one of the old macrocarpa pines, wait till the chicken comes along, drop the box down on the chicken. This all would have worked perfectly, except the chickens kept seeing the box and they'd run away. So after a few failed attempts, apparently the boys got jack of that and they waited till the chicken came and was pecking and they dropped the box. Now this would have also worked well if the box had fallen right on the chicken. It did not. It caught the chicken, crated it back across the back of its neck, killed it outright. So then they're looking around going, oh, what are we going to do now? So they got rid of the evidence with the box, looked at the chicken and went, oh dear, we're in for it. So then they did what everyone would maybe think about. They chopped its head off, they plucked it, dressed it, put it on a nice plate in the fridge or the cool box, and when their parents got home, they told them that the chook had wandered onto the road, been hit on the head by a car, and only had damaged its head, and it was dead, and so they didn't want to waste it, so they set it all up. And their mum, Jean, my grandmother, believed them. The next story also involves a chicken. This chicken was not so lucky, not that the first one was actually lucky either, but the second one was slightly less intact. Again, their parents were away, and the naughty little boys decided they really needed to have a go at their dad's double-barrel shotgun. Now, they knew this was not allowed. They also knew that it was going to give them a hell of a kick if they didn't hold it correctly. So, being resourceful, they tied it to the gatepost. They tied a piece of string to the trigger and then loaded it and then looked around for a suitable target, and along comes unsuspecting chicken, and they thought, wow, there we go, we'll have a go at that. Now, Don told me that A, they weren't expecting the gun to be so loud, and B, they expected they were going to miss. So after they picked themselves up off the ground, ears ringing, they discovered they had actually not missed. There was chicken and feathers everywhere. So they quickly put the shotgun away, disposed of the cartridges, and then looked at the mess and went, oh, what are we going to do now? So they tried to pick up bits of chicken, and in the end they came up with the story that a tiger cat had come in during the day and killed the chicken. And Jean believed them. They're just a few of the stories, but I really like those ones. My Uncle Don. In 1964, when I came along, through circumstances, I ended up pretty much with three dads. My dad's older brother, Peter, and his younger brother, Don, being around a lot more than my dad. My Uncle Don carried on with his larrikin side. He was so much fun. He was the one who taught me silly jokes and practical jokes. He bought me books of silly sayings and all sorts of things. He and Auntie Judy used to take me on holidays with them because Nigel was by himself, as was I, and they thought it was easier to have the two of us to keep each other company. Hence, Nigel and I grew up a little like brother and sister. Don told me recently that they also did this to give my old mum a break. And they were at our house or we at theirs most weekends. When I was 10 or so, I discovered music, and he loaned me, because he loved music, he loaned me his portable record player. It was pale blue, one of those square boxes, you lifted the lid, and the speakers were inside the lid. He also loaned me my very first record, or gave me my very first record, which was Georgia Girl by the Seekers. And he made me tapes of all his Beatles and Buddy Holly and Seekers collections. He loaned me when I got old enough, he loaned me his Ian Fleming 007 books, all his Agatha Christie's and any other books he thought I might like. I remember when I was in my early teens being at a family dinner when Dad and Don were telling stories of their childhood exploits, and the chicken stories came out. I also remember my old mum saying, "Wait, what? You mean the chicken didn't get hit by a car?" My old mum was quite put out that she'd actually believed them, but at the same time she was laughing so hard she was crying. These family times and good memories will remain with me forever. Sadly, Don and I lost contact for a few years, but thankfully found each other again, and nothing had changed. And I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know the Don and Maureen show. I also discovered that Don still loves silly jokes, although recently the funniest thing about him telling a joke was watching him try and get the punchline out because he'd be laughing so hard he couldn't actually tell it. Uncle Don, I miss you, and I love you, and like everybody else, I wasn't ready to say goodbye, but I'm very glad that the end was quick and that you are now sleeping peacefully. So sleep sweet, and love you, and may the beer and pizza be plentiful wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. He obviously blessed your life. You were very lucky. We now have the privilege of viewing some photographs that have been collected from the family albums that depict various aspects of Don's life. The chosen songs to support these are Can I Have This Dance by Anne Murray and My Way by Frank Sinatra.
I'll always remember the song they were playing the first time we danced, and I knew as we swayed to the music and held to each other, I fell in love with you. Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? Would you be my partner every night? When we're together, it feels so right. Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? I'll always remember that magic moment when I held you close to me as we moved together. I knew forever you're all I'll ever need. Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? Would you be my partner every night? When we're together, it feels so right. Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? Could I have this dance for the rest of my life? Would you be my partner every night? When we're together, together, it feels so right. Could I have this dance for the rest of my life?
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my Yes, it was my way.
Beautiful memories. And what an infectious smile. Beautiful. This afternoon, we've had a special glimpse into the life of a wonderful man. Hardworking, never still, devoted to his family, loyal and loving. As we celebrate his life, we can take satisfaction that Don has been and still is and always will be a part of our life. His influence endures in the unending consequences flowing from his character and his actions. As you live your life, do so enriched by having known Don. Look beyond the sadness of today and recall your most joyous memories. Cherish your family and your friends, for they have the capacity to give you the greatest comfort and happiness. Live your lives to the full, to the benefit of those around you, as Don would have wished you to do. Maureen, the family would really like to thank you for your loving care of Don, especially over the last 3 years. You have been absolutely amazing, and they will be forever grateful. The family also thank the Burnie Renal Unit and the Northwest Regional Hospital. Don will now take his final journey to the Burnie Lawn Cemetery, where he will be reunited with his beloved first wife, Judy. Please feel free to take this journey with him or to remain here until the family returns. Would you all please stand?
Looking forward, looking back, I've come a long way down the track. Got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making sense of what I've seen. All the love we've had between you and I along the track. Looking forward, looking back. There are strange days full of change on the way, but we'll be fine. Unlike some, I'll be leaning forward to see what's coming. Looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track. Got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know. Hey. If I'm alone at night, I can see through all triviality of the day, and I'm okay. I just think of those who are dear to me. Looking forward, looking back. I've come a long way down the track. Got a long way left to go, making songs from what I know, making songs from what I know. Hey, looking forward, looking back.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park. Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Gardenia Park.
Don't think of him as gone away. His journey has just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from the sorrows and the tears, in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how he must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of him as living in the hearts of those he touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and Don was loved so much. It is now time to lay a much-loved husband, father, pop, brother, uncle and friend to rest. Don, the many people whose lives you have touched will remember you with deep affection and warmth. The story of your life is ended, but the part you played in theirs continues to affect the people you cared about. May your love be reflected in all who knew you, and may you continue to live on through the lives of those you leave behind. Your legacy is the love you shared and the beauty you created in all that you touched. Don, your life we honour, your departure we accept, and your memory we cherish. And although there is sadness today as we say goodbye, there is also gratitude for your life. We are truly grateful for the privilege of having shared life with you. But rest now at the end of your days. Rest in the hearts and minds of all those who love you. And so, with love, we shall leave you in peace. And with respect, we bid you a fond farewell. Now, in sorrow but without fear, we commit the body of Donald Leonard Medwin, Don, to the elements and ultimately to Mother Earth, from which all life comes and to which, in the end, all life returns. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Grateful for the life that has been lived and for all that life has meant to us, may we resolve that while we live, we will strive with all our might to make our living of real worth. Don, go forth from this world knowing that you are loved beyond measure, that you will be missed more than words can say, that you will be remembered and cherished, and that love will never end. We will hold you close within us, and there you will remain to be with us throughout our lives until we meet again. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, refreshments over in the refreshment centre and then on to Nigel's in Stirling Street. Thank you all very much.
Working hard to make a living, bringing shelter from the rain. A father son left to carry on, blue denim in his veins. Oh, he's a working class man. Well, he's a steel town disciple. Oh, he's a legend of his time. He's running like a cycle across the wild Midwestern sky. Oh, he's a working class man. Believes in God and Elvis. He gets out when he can. He did his time in Vietnam. Still mad at Uncle Sam. He's a simple man with a heart of gold in a complicated land. Oh, he's a working class man. Well, he loves a little woman. Someday he'll make his wife. Saving all the overtime for the one love of his life. He ain't worried about tomorrow, because he just made up his mind. Life's too short for burning bridges. Take it one day at a time. Oh, he's a working class man. Oh, he's a working class man. Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. Oh, he's a working class
You ask how much I need you. Must I explain? I need you, oh my darling, like roses need rain. You ask how long I'll love you, I'll tell you true, until the 12th of never, I'll still be loving you. Hold me close, never let me go. Hold me close, melt my heart like April snow. I'll love you till the bluebells forget to bloom. I'll love you till the clover has lost its perfume. I'll love you till the poets run out of rhyme, until the 12th of never.